Good afternoon, sir. I'm Alessandro Vellucci,
And my name is Jacob Mockler.
and we're going to be talking about the interaction between gamma rays and biological tissue and its role in cancer treatment. So, where we came up with this idea, well, it's definitely outside of our class material, and we wanted to do something very important. And I think cancer, one of the top diseases in the world, we looked at their treatment, and this is one of the forms of treatment, which there are multiple, but we focus on gamma ray radiation therapy, which is a treatment, not a cure. And it's very interesting. So we'll get into the information now. Starting off with what are gamma rays? Gamma rays are high energy messengers, and they represent the most energetic form of electromagnetic radiation and play a crucial role in medical applications. As for we're talking cancer treatment, this is one of them. What are they? They're massless photons, so high energy photons and do not contain a mass, and they travel at the speed of light. They're known for having wave particle duality, which exhibits characteristics of both waves and particles, and they come from the concept of quantum mechanics. What are they? They're positioned at the end of the electromagnetic spectrum. Gamma rays have the waves with the highest energy and frequency, as well as the shortest wavelength. Gamma rays are a form of electromagnetic radiation, and they specifically exhibit ionizing radiation, which is separating them from the majority of waves within the electromagnetic spectrum. Ionizing radiation occurs when a form of radiation has enough energy to separate an electron from an atom, giving it an additional positive charge. So this is the nature of ionizing radiation. Like gamma, they carry sufficient energy to dislodge electrons from atoms, as I said, leading to the formation of ions. This process initiates a cascade of chemical and biological living tissue, profoundly impacting cellular structure.
Because of their high energy, gamma rays can penetrate through skin and clothing, passing entirely through the human body. Throughout the process, gamma rays can be damaging to DNA, structure, and tissue. But for this to occur, ionization radiation must initially happen. The ionization radiation of gamma rays has three different mechanisms: the photoelectric effect, Compton scattering, and pair production. The photoelectric effect is the first mechanism of ionization radiation for gamma rays. The photoelectric effect occurs for light rays usually low energy light rays, between 10 electron volts and up to 100 kilo electron volts. And during this process, when light enters an atom, the photon for the gamma ray is completely absorbed by the atom. And then the energy of the photon is then transferred to an electron orbiting the nucleus. And all electrons have a binding energy. The binding energy is basically the amount of energy that restricts it from leaving its orbit, so its attraction to the nucleus. And if the energy transferred from the photon to the electron is greater or surpasses the binding energy, the electron will be ejected from the atom. And then afterwards, it's called a photoelectron, and this signals that the photoelectric effect has happened. Therefore, ionization has happened. For the photoelectric effect to happen in the first place, the electron must have a binding energy lower than the energy of the photon. And over here, we can see the formula. Kmax is equal to Planck's constant times frequency minus binding energy. Kmax would just be the total energy of the electron. H is Planck's constant. F is frequency. So that's equal to the energy of the photon that's coming in, and then the binding energy. So how much energy needs to surpass, basically. And over here, we can see in the diagram that the circled diagram, the incident gamma photon will hit the electron, and if the energy added to the electron will surpass the binding energy, it will be ejected as shown and become a photoelectron. And the formula demonstrates how photons with higher frequencies will supply the electron with more energy, making it easier for it to be ejected. And then it also says how electrons with lower binding energies, so electrons that are in the outer orbitals, more away from the nucleus, which means lower attraction to the nucleus, are also easier to be ejected and easier to easier to be ejected in a higher Kmax. Compton scattering is the second mechanism of ionization radiation. This one occurs for medium levels of energy, usually between 100 kilo electron volts to 10 mega electron volts. Unlike the photoelectric effect, Compton scattering, the photon is not completely absorbed by the atom, but rather the photon will lose its energy in an interaction with a outer shell electron, and it shares its energy with the electron during the interaction, and that will allow the electron to overcome its binding energy, and it will be ejected as a Compton electron, and the original photon will not be absorbed, but it will also be ejected, or it'll change direction and become a scattered photon. And the two products, so the scattered photon, which was the original photon, and the Compton electron, can then go throughout the body or tissue and perform their own ionization afterwards. Pair production is the last mechanism of ionization radiation. During pair production, the gamma ray interacts instead with the nucleus of the atom rather than the electron itself. This creates an electron-positron pair that consists of a positron and the electron. A positron is an antiparticle of an electron, meaning it has an equal mass but an opposite positive charge. The energy of the gamma ray photon needs to be at least 1.022 mega electron volts for pair production to occur, since the energy of the photon forms the masses of the pair. The masses of both a positron and an electron are equivalent to an energy of 0.511 mega electron volts. Therefore, adding them together results in a minimum photon energy of 1.022 mega electron volts. This was determined from Einstein's energy law, where E equals mc squared, energy in joules or electron volts of the photon or of the electron, and mass in kilograms, and c in the speed of light in meters per second. If the photon energy is above the minimum requirement, it will result in energy share between the pair produced. Pair production produces a positron and allows the electron to overcome its binding energy and separate from the atom. After one of the three ionization mechanisms occur in tissue, intracellular components such as DNA can be targeted. They can be targeted directly by ionization radiation, which is when the ionization radiation itself will break the sugar phosphate backbone of DNA structures, as well as hydrogen bonds connecting the nucleotide base pairs of DNA. So this can cause physical damage, or it can also be in the form of mutations, so changing the base sequence pairs, which can alter the protein function and the organism itself. Or there can be indirect action where after the ionization radiation occurs, the molecule will lose an electron, and then it will become very unstable, and that will cause it to break into fragments called free radicals. And these free radicals are very reactive since they have an unpaired electron, and that will cause them to attack other atoms within a DNA molecule. For example, a water molecule being broken up into H plus and OH minus, and they will attack DNA structures and cause lesions or mutations.
Okay, so now in targeting cancer, they use the gamma rays as a weapon, basically. So in the therapy, gamma rays are delivered to the tumor sites and basically exploit the vulnerabilities of the cancer cells. The goal is to attack and damage the cancerous cells, which cannot repair themselves like regular cells, while minimizing the harm to the actual healthy tissue. As we talked about in the mechanisms, the interactions generate secondary electrons and they further ionize the cellular components. These electrons that are ionized create abundant ROS, and which are potent chemical agents that cause widespread of cellular damage to both cancerous and regular. Combined, it leads to DNA damage and particularly double strands, which are difficult to repair, especially in cancer cells, as they are more vulnerable and they cannot repair pathways like the regular cells can. And the accumulation of these unrepaired damage forces cancer cells into a programmed cell death, basically killing themselves when regular cells are able to eventually repair themselves fully. So very quickly, fractionation, which is the method on how many doses they properly give in order to properly kill the cancerous cells. So they measure it in they do daily doses of 1.5 to 3 GYs, which is energy absorbed joules for every kilogram. And in this process, the normal cells will repair damage better and survive, whereas the cancer cells won't, and it'll eventually kill them with these specific doses. So next we'll talk about the advancements and for the future. These are modern and safer gamma ray therapies in cancer that are now being used. So first we have the 3D conformal radiation therapy. This utilizes the CT scans to shape radiation beams precisely to the tumor, and it conforms three-dimensional shapes of it, so it can image it better. Next is the intensity modulated radiation therapy, or IMRT, and it adjusts the intensity of radiation beams across the treatment field, basically allowing a higher dose to get to the tumor, and it lowers doses to nearby organs that may be at risk. Next is the image guided radiation therapy, or IGRT. This incorporates daily imaging, or CTs or X-rays, before or during treatments to ensure accurate tumor targeting, and it can account for patient movement or tumor changes. And then lastly, the stereotactic body radiation therapy, or SBRT, which is a high dose treatment, and it can be delivered in fewer sessions, which is good for smaller tumors in the lung, liver, spine, and other sites too.
In conclusion, gamma rays are intense and dangerous forms of electromagnetic radiation. They can negatively damage human tissue and DNA severely, but simultaneously be able to save lives. The combination of reliable physics, deep tissue reach, and compatibility with precision technologies make gamma rays a fundamental tool in modern radiation for cancer treatment. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.